All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Handgun Radio. We're live.
I just got an announcement on my phone that says we're live, as if I didn't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like my phone just chimed. I'm like, what the heck is this? Oh, we're live. I didn't know that.
Hello, and welcome to Handgun Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Machad from the wild woods of central Maine, and this is your home for all the news, information, and discussion in the handgunning world. This week, we're going to talk about some recent firearms news, as well as a few reviews of products we talked about before. So as always, Handgun Radio is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. And please check out the Patriot Patch Company for their awesome patches and other high-quality items. Visit patriotpatch.co for more information. And as always, shop Amazon using our affiliate link, firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. And weird, if you wanted to help support Handgun Radio, how would you do it?
I would sell my newly acquired house and send all that money to Ryan Machad. Or,
okay.
Or you could go to firearmsradio.tv/pledge and click on HTR.
And there are a bunch of different pledge levels over there. We really appreciate anybody who's pledged over there. And if you're looking to do that, you can follow the link in the show notes. So, Weird, what did you do this week?
I went to the range. Oh,
Finally.
I said I was going to do it. It was a little bit of a short week because I was up in Maine for the first half of it, but I had a little bit of time and I went, what am I doing? Let's go to the range. I just brought the 617 because I just wanted to work just on basics. Brought the 617. I think I might have fired it in single action like twice. It was just all double action. And I was just trying to just work on the basics and get it in there. And for those that don't know, on that range trip that was up on the YouTube channel, Ryan was nice enough not to show him filming me because I shot horrible. And
you mean with the 617?
I couldn't hit anything that day. And I think some of it was just I'm hanging out with friends. I don't know. I'm not usually the type of guy whose groups go terrible. Jay from the Squirrel Report is one of those guys. Just one person and he shoots beautifully, like 5 people and he shoots terrible. Probably not that case now that there's a gun range in the basement of his office.
I have a pretty big basement at my new house.
Oh, let's build a range there. Let's do it. What could go wrong? So shot that a bunch. There was a couple other people on. I was at the same range we went to. Weird, interesting thing is I found, looking at the video that the raw video that you didn't post on there, I realized that my stance was really, really wonky. And I realized that for whatever reason, I don't know if it's my eyes are getting older, but I want the gun to be further away from my face than I did when I was first shooting. I really liked a fairly close weaver position. That just seemed to work well. I wanted the gun in a little bit tighter, a little bit closer. And I just started experimenting with, I guess you could call it the modern isosceles, where you're still slightly bladed, but both elbows are locked. And that was feeling, for the first time, a lot more comfortable than the weaver. So I'm going to be working on that. One other thing was there was another guy on the range and just went over to peek what he had. And he had a Glock of something or other. I don't know what it was. Didn't care. It's a Glock. But he also had a VP9. And I said, oh, that's cool. And he says, here, handed me a magazine. And in typical fashion, he was shooting at a silhouette target, and so he was aiming center of mass. So I said, I'm not going to screw up his grouping. So I aimed for the head box and blew the X out of that on the first shot, and then went to go group him. It was really nice. I have a lot of bad things to say about H&K, specifically back from the USP line when they had a plastic handgun that was $1,000. I may have, with a terrible trigger, I may have some issues with that. This gun, I had no idea how nice they were. The sights were perfectly fine, felt good in the hand, and the trigger was really, really nice. Like good kind of, striker fired trigger. You want something like that if it doesn't have a manual safety. I didn't want it to feel like a 1911 trigger. It felt how I feel a striker fired trigger should feel. So they're a little more expensive than, say your M&Ps or your Glocks, but with a Glock, you're going to have to replace the sights and maybe do a little trigger work on it. And with an M&P, you're definitely going to need a new trigger. So the VP9 might be a good recommendation for someone that does that. Hey, Weird, I'm thinking about getting a new gun, getting my first gun. What should I get? That's getting up to the top of the list.
So, do I sound different to you?
You sound more manly and virile. Don't ask me questions like that. You won't like the answers.
Okay. So you may have noticed the show we did last week actually hasn't posted yet, and that'll actually probably end up posting at a different date. So the way that the whole thing lined up, the way we were moving, we didn't have internet, so I couldn't post the show, and then we finally moved, so now I have internet. So you're listening to the first show in the new Handgun Radio studio. So I will be sure to post a picture later on tonight on the Facebook page of the studio now that it's all set up.
Just throw a whole bunch of empty beer cans on the floor. just make it look like a college dorm room.
No, it is staying clean. I may put the picture of Belushi, like the poster up, but that'll be as far as I go.
Oh, and put like on the corner of your desk just an ashtray, just jam packed filled with butts. So there's like there's not a single room for one more butt to go in.
So yeah, so that has been basically the thing that has consumed most of my time. So my apologies for not getting last week's show out. Had to get everything set up, and so everything should be a little bit more consistent from now on. The studio is all good, and now I don't have to travel to get my guns, because before I didn't keep them with me. They were in a different place. So it's nice to not have to go somewhere else before I go to the range.
Yeah.
So, Weird, what is your drink segment this week?
So I decided I wanted to do a little bit more of a philosophical discussion. Good drinks versus bad drinks. And so in honor of that, there's two I specifically want to talk about, but this is kind of a wider reaching thing. But right now I am drinking a margarita. And I'm saying the margarita is a good choice because the first margarita I ever had was made for me by my mom. And my mom, my mom went through a big margarita phase. I don't think she's had one in years now, but she would make it with Jose Cuervo, which is your mixto tequila, which by the way means that it needs to be at least 51% blue agave. And then the rest can be whatever garbage liquor that they can get for cheap. And for those who have had 100% blue agave tequila versus a mixto tequila like Jose Cuervo, they're almost not the same drink. They really are. If you think you don't like tequila and you've only had like Cuervo and El Toro and those other, Pepe Lopez, you maybe
El Toro,
don't.
You mean the one with the little hat as the
little
cover?
Hat on the top of it? Yes, I've thrown that up.
Oh yes, that is nasty.
It's gross. It's super gross. But yeah, and then my mom would get like the big jug of like margarita mix, and literally she just like throw a bunch of ice in a glass, pour some tequila in, and like dump that stuff on top of it. And if she had like a margarita, I don't remember if she had a margarita glass, but she might put some salt on the rim. And I just went, ugh, I don't like this. This is not a good drink. Yeah, and it's not. It's terrible. But here, my drink is I'm using fresh lime juice. I'm using 100% blue agave tequila. In this case, I tried a little experiment. I don't think I like it as much, but I used oleosaccharum, lime oleosaccharum syrup. So lime peels that I soaked in sugar and then made that into a simple syrup and then strained out the lime, which is really good stuff. But I kind of like it more using the elderflower and a little bit of celery bitters, and it's a really good drink. So the other one was just a cute story, just to start out with, just because I think this is a great story, is some friends of the family came over to my parents' house. This is actually my mom met the wife of this husband and wife group when she was in the hospital after I was born. And so they were the first time they ever came over to my parents' house. My dad said, "Hey, can I make you a drink?" And the husband looked at him and said, "Yeah, I'll have a mint julep," which is an insane thing to say because a mint julep takes equipment to make. Like you need fresh mint, you need bourbon. I guess you could assume you have bourbon, you need crushed ice. Ideally, I don't make mine with that, but ideally you need like a silver or a metal cup to drink it out of. It's just the fact that he just said, "No, that's what I'll have." And so I was joking. I always kept going to my dad, "Hey, can I make you a mint julep?" And my dad always would say no. And then finally the other day, my father was down and I said, "Hey, Dad, can I make you a drink?" He said, "Sure." I said, "What do you want?" Surprise me. So I went out, got some fresh mint and made a mint julep. And my dad literally said, "This is the best drink I've ever had." And I asked him, I said, "Is this the first time you've had a mint julep? You being a bourbon drinker all my life, you've never had a mint julep?" He goes, "Well, I think we were having a Kentucky Derby party back when you were young, and your mother made some mint juleps for us. And I told her she didn't have to make them for us anymore." He has no recollection on what she did to screw up that mint julep, but the difference between really crafting a good drink and crafting a bad drink is a huge deal. Oh, I guess another one was I bought my dad a bottle of single malt scotch. And before that time, the only thing he had ever had was Johnny Walker Red. Actually, he had a bottle for most of my life in his liquor cabinet, and finally he gave it to me. And I tried it, and it's actually not as bad as I remember. I had some back in college for the first time and kind of swore off the stuff. But it's not bad, but it's not good. But then having a good single malt scotch versus a really cheap scotch, huge difference. You can chalk yourself off as saying, "Oh, I don't like that. I don't do that." But the difference between a well-crafted drink and one that's crap is a huge difference. And the same ideas. Yeah, it might be easier to buy that jug of margarita mix, but it's not that much harder to juice some limes and maybe make some simple syrup.
Now, what did you use for a bourbon for the mint julep you made your dad?
Just wild turkey.
Nice.
I actually don't go crazy with my bourbons. Most of the time wild turkey is good. I drink it straight. It's wonderful. And I think it's actually a pound for pound a really, really good bourbon. And so, yeah, just do that.
Nice. So with that, we'll head into the main topic. I think we're going to call this the miscellaneous show.
The mix bag.
So the first thing here, this has been the talk of the internet, except Weird hasn't heard of it until just now.
Just found out.
The Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 compact, but it's the Glock 19 size, not the like M&P C that you're thinking of. Because to me, the M&P C, wasn't that like the size of a Glock 26?
No, it is more or less the same overall length. The barrel length is like it's a 1/10 of an inch longer than the Glock 26, but the grip frame was a little bit taller so that its flush fit magazine is 12+1.
Okay. Because I remember seeing them and I'm like, is that a baby Glock or size or?
It was really almost directly. I guess it might be a little bit closer to the baby Glock in size, but it was kind of in between the 19 and the 19 and the 26.
So let's look here. We got Glock 26. I have the M&P 9C. So M&P 9C, 12+1 capacity, 3.5-inch barrel, overall length of 6.7 inches. Glock 26, overall length of 6.49 inches. So it's a little bit smaller lengthwise. Mm-hmm. And capacity is,
10.
Where is this? 10. Okay, so it's a little bit bigger.
Does it say what the overall height is between the two?
Overall height.
What's it say on the 26?
Closed it, sorry. Glock 26 height, 4.17 inches.
Oh, I'm actually not seeing. I'm looking at the.
I don't see the height on the Smith & Wesson site, though.
Oh, well. I was hoping it was right there, but I guess I could get my ruler out and get out my M&P, but yeah, but I think that the Smith & Wesson M&P is a little bit taller, though. To be fair, I don't get quite a 3-finger grip on mine. It's it's definitely a curl the pinky underneath it when you're shooting it.
Man, that M&P 2.0, I gotta say, that is a really good looking pistol.
Yeah,
like they've altered it. I don't know if we really got into it, but it looks like they've altered the angle of the grip very slightly, and I think that's Glock's probably really feeling the heat from them.
I mean, I don't see that because it's always kind of had the exact same angle as a 1911, or really just about every other gun out there.
Maybe it's just a reduced like palm swell, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It could be just what backstraps in it too.
Yeah, it looks a little bit different, but I think, I mean,
you can put the large backstrap in, and it suddenly has a more Glock-like palm swell.
Like, especially with the introduction of this compact, I would seriously consider making that my next purchase. And you know how much I talk about the Steyr and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, the trigger's not as nice as your Steyr, even with the 2.0 trigger. 2.0 trigger is better. It's within striking. I still think Glocks probably have a little bit of a better trigger out of the box, at least
but then
MPs
again,
handled.
I can't go to Apex and ask them to give me a trigger for my Steyr.
No, you can't. That is the downside to having a hipster gun.
Exactly. But I think this is going to be a huge seller for them. I think this honestly will probably outsell the regular size.
Yeah, I bet. It's. I mean, the Glock 19 sells so well. It really is kind of a sweet spot size of the. It's big enough that you've got a full grip on it and all that, but it's a little bit smaller that it's a little easier to conceal.
It's too bad Glock couldn't have just called it the K frame.
It is kind of a K frame sized.
It's the K frame semi-auto.
Yep.
Like it's a Model 10 K frame semi-auto and 9mm.
Yep. And yeah, it's kind of cool. Again, I really want to get one of the 45s.
But the thing that strikes me though is just recently when I was out at the range, a guy had a Glock 26. Now I had a 27 a long time ago, actually, when I lived in this house before, which is funny. And the 27 kicked like a mule, obviously, because it was small and it's a 40. But even the 26, I was shooting it and I'm like, man, there's not much for me to hang on to here. Even my car, I kind of have a better time hanging on to that. But I think maybe just because it was double stack. But
that's also one of the reasons why I like cars is the car has that really low slide.
Right.
They're able to. The cars have long grips for their overall height. The proportion. I mean, Glocks have big chunky slides.
But this this M&P compact though gives you a little bit more to hang on to as opposed to maybe if you went down to like the gun that you have, the C there.
Yeah. The first generation compact.
And does that have a pinky rest on the magazine, or can you use flush fit?
Yeah, it has both. It has both flush fit and pinky rest magazines. And then I'm trying to remember if they've got a collar for the full size, but I mean they are like most guns, between the sizes you can do different durations.
So in the pictures that I see for the compact that were put up by Ballistic Radio, he was the first person I actually saw that announced it. And I was like, wait a minute, they didn't already make that? And so I'm looking at it right here. It looks like it can use the full size mags in there as a collar, similar to like the Shield.
Yep.
So I believe that, so hopefully Paul Carlson can modify his Plan B and put it into production with this too.
Yeah. I mean, it might be the same magazine. I don't think they're using different magazines from the first gen M&Ps.
Well, Paul's was from the Shield though.
But I think he was working on one for the. I don't know if he succeeded in making it, but I know he was working on one for the double stack M&Ps as well.
Oh, okay.
Because
that would be cool.
Architecture, but yeah, it'd be cool. And that's actually the next thing I was thinking about is, well, what happens to the previous generation compact size? Are they going to make a baby M&P But I kind of wonder if they're just going to stick with, if you want a teeny tiny M&P, just use the shield.
Right. Well, I mean, has that M&P C? I mean, I can't imagine the sales. I never see them.
I mean, I saw a ton of them in Massachusetts, but that's a weird. I mean, there's a reason why I own the M&P 9C. Is ideally I'd like to have a 9 full size.
I honestly can say I think I've only ever seen one other time aside from yours.
Mm-hmm.
And I go into a lot of gun shops.
Yeah. I saw a bunch in Massachusetts, and again, they're attractive because we're limited to 10-round magazines, and so stuffing a 10-round magazine into a magazine well built for 12 isn't a big a deal as stuffing a 10-round magazine into a well built for 17.
Right. So that'll be interesting. We will keep up on that for sure. We'll talk if I see any links or anything. I'll throw them up on the Handgun Radio Facebook page. The FN 509. Now, the reason I put this in the show notes is I got to handle one the other day. The trigger was actually pretty good.
Oh, I just noticed. I hadn't noticed this before. I've seen pictures of this gun before. I've never handled one, but it's got a segmented trigger like the M&P, which yes. I think is a very. Hold on a second. What the heck is in the picture there? What the heck is the cartridge it's got for? It looks bottled.
I don't know what that is. I think it kind of looks like a 9mm that got put into a die a little bit off center and got folded up.
Yeah, I've got a 38. I've got a 38 wad cutter on my desk. That's exact. That happened. That exact thing happened too. But yeah, no, it looks weird. It looks like a little like.
So we call a redneck bottleneck.
Yeah. taper grip. But yeah, I definitely chalk off one of the reasons why the M&P trigger is so bad is that segment. It just adds a lot. It just naturally adds a lot of creep to the trigger. But did you not experience that?
I thought it was fine. I like that kind of trigger better than the Glock trigger.
I like the look of it, but I've overall find that.
Okay, sorry. Let me rephrase that. The M&P trigger I think is too curved. This trigger felt more flat to me.
I got you.
The M&P trigger, if you look at it, it's got a really extreme curve. It's almost like the curve of a revolver. But this one is a little bit more flat-faced.
Mm-hmm. It does. So what'd you think?
But I liked it. It's big. It's like every other FN pistol. It's friggin' huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of feels like a polymer Ruger from like a Ruger P89 or something.
Oh, I got you.
But
actually, I don't know if I've shot any polymer framed FNs, with the exception of the FN P45 tactical, which
I think I shot an FNX once.
Yeah, the P45 tactical is gigantic. It is a little bit smaller than a Desert Eagle.
I did like the aesthetics on this one. I will say I do like how they like kind of scalloped away the front of the slide.
Yeah.
Saves on weight. Looks pretty good. It kind of reminds me of the Grand Power pistols.
Actually, that's the front scalloping actually looks a little bit like a Desert Eagle to me.
Or a Canik. Savage is probably his ears just perked up.
Yep.
But yeah, so I was really impressed with it. I think that'll be, and it wasn't that expensive either. I want to say it was in like the $500 range.
Oh, not bad.
So I mean, it was pretty competitive with what you would expect. Of course, American Rifleman. They're so wordy. And of course, okay. Let's see. Yeah, 17-round detachable box. It comes with 3-dot night sights, double action, only 7-pound, 3-ounce pull.
Did it feel that heavy to you?
No, it didn't feel that heavy. That's why I was like, wait a minute. Width 1.25 inches. Heavy. It was fairly heavy, 25.3 ounces, but
that's still a little for something that big.
But
it was only a 4-inch barrel.
2 back straps, extra magazine, MSRP of $649.
And it's got a rail for your pistol bayonet.
There you go. So so definitely check that out. So weird. The next one. This is for you. I put this in here for you.
Oh,
Britain's most criminally used gun. what would it be? The Smith & Wesson M&P, the Glock 26, the Rome RG22, the Jennings. No.
No, they've
What
got
would it
here
be?
the 9mm Beretta 9000S.
So not only is it used for bad things, but it's a bad gun.
It really is a bad gun. Well, we got a chance to handle one in Cabela's after because like I said, I thought about buying one of these in 40 back when I was a brand new shooter. I think it was right when they were discontinuing them. So all of a sudden the gun stores had them for like, I want to say they were like $300 new. And I'm like, ooh, that's a really good price. And I really didn't know much about. I still like the looks of it. It's still a funky looking gun, and it's a neat little size. It's compact, but it doesn't feel super duper small. But yeah, I didn't really know much about a good trigger versus a bad trigger, and this is a bad trigger. Goes on for days. It's creepy. It's squishy. It breaks in a weird place.
You can't operate any of the controls.
No. Well, no, I mean the thumb safety falls right where it needs to be. It's a little weird shaped, and it doesn't feel right. But
it is. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about this gun. It really, really is just an abomination. It's like the wrong size. It doesn't fit you. Didn't have it like a little flippy down pinky thing.
I know. I think you could get magazines that had the little hook on it that didn't increase capacity, but just had the hook.
Yeah, I know. It was, oh my God. I remember handling that, and I was like, how could this be that bad? I'm like, oh, okay, it is that bad. Because it also has, the rails are on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, yeah, no. That's funny, though. I can't believe, so let's see. Revealed it had been Britain's forensic examination really been used in 19 separate shootings over 7 years, making it Britain's most criminally used individual firearm.
Okay,
so someone used
it's an individual. I misread the title and thought that like the like the Ukrainian mob just when Beretta was getting rid of these ones, going, no, this gun's kind of a turd. Let's get rid of it, and they just bought them all out and just started distributing them. So
this poor Beretta got shamed so much in the U.S. that it just had to go on a killing rampage in the U.K.
Yes.
Hasn't it been in a bunch of movies, though, too? I've seen it in it looked very futuristic.
It was in Minority Report. I know that. I don't know if any other. I can look it up.
IMFDB.
Type loudly.
Type loudly for the viewers.
Yes,
and the listeners.
So they know. It's the Beretta 9000S. Now I'm going to cross-reference it. Minority Report.
Enhance.
And then, there's going to be obnoxious ads that come up because IMFDB needs lots and lots of money. Oh, Robert De Niro used it in Showtime? I'm trying to remember if I don't think I saw
no one ever saw that, so...
I don't think I saw it either.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, it was in the is that the Thomas Jane Punisher? No, it's not. Who is this?
There was a different guy that did the Punisher.
Ray Stevenson. I don't know who that is.
But was it in Minority Report? That's the answer the listeners.
Yes, it was in Minority Report.
Okay. All right. And then the last thing here, the Kimber K6S.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking to Grant on Facebook about this. He posted about this. We saw this. And apparently there was a review. Someone enjoyed it. I haven't heard much about them since the big media blitz of the NRA show and SHOT Show. So have you heard anything what's been going on?
No, I mean they're starting to get out in the wild. I know I think Yankee Marshall bought one because he'll buy any new revolver.
I mean the review isn't terribly extensive. Says it was pleasant to shoot with Federal 357 125 grain. He started getting a blister on the web of his right hand after 40 rounds of 357 and a snubby. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll do it to you.
Yeah. Even if it's all steel, full house 357s will boot you around.
very close to the size of a J frame, but it holds 6 rounds. I mean, that is like the big selling point. And also to me, the sight setup. I think the sight setup is fantastic.
The sights are absolutely gorgeous on that. I love the fact that it's got essentially a trench rear sight like your, some of the K frames and your J frames, but it's actually a dovetailed in rear sight block so that you can change it out. I mean, in theory, you could windage adjust it, but you could remove the rear sight block for a different configuration if that's what you wanted.
Well, and you're actually like on this one is a gold bead up front. I mean, you're getting an actual sight picture.
Yeah.
And if it's like bright sunlight out, you're not getting washed out either. Because that does happen. I've had that happen with my Snubby before. But the sight picture just gets lost.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the speed loader thing. Now, was that what's that company that makes the stainless steel speed loaders?
Oh, I forgot the name of them.
It's like something Star.
Yeah, but yeah, it's got it. They in the review they've got it's Kimber branded, and it is
Star.
It's one of those. Yeah, it's a metal speed loader, and it's got the
Oh yeah, that's definitely made by them. That's basically the exact same thing.
And it's got a two 6-round loading blocks where you put your 6 rounds into it, and then you can drop the speed loader onto it, and then twist the locking, the locking knob to lock the rounds in place.
I wonder how much that loading block adds to the price of the revolver.
I don't know. I mean, they're not cheap, but I don't think they're all that expensive. I remember when they first came around and they were showing the prices, and they weren't.
I mean, I don't know. I've just never had a hard time.
Oh my goodness, I need to get this right now price, but They also weren't. How are they ever going to expand? That's outrageous.
I've just never had a hard time putting rounds into my speed loader without a block.
Yeah, I just flip them over and drop them in, and then twist it from underneath, and then
we are mere,
and make sure they hold.
We are mere peons. We use HKS.
That is true. I use it. Well, I actually use Bianchi speed strips and tough strips. Really, my HKS loaders are really just kind of there for training purposes. I don't carry a speed loader.
I actually just got some of the tough strips. I had the tough strips. I just got some of the Bianchi speed strips. The speed strips are a lot looser than the tough strips. The tough strips, I had a hard time getting the rounds in. Even now, after having had them, I kind of like the fact that they hold them a little bit tighter. So I was a little bit concerned with how loosely the rounds fit in the Bianchi speed strip. I was kind of worried like they might come out of the strip in my pocket.
I've never had any problems with either one of them. But to be fair, it's apples and oranges because my tough strips are for 22 long rifle. But I've got the 10, which by the way, I forgot to bring to the range as I'm loading up the cylinder. I'm like, all right, that's not necessary, but it would be an awful lot of fun to have the tough strips with me to just spin in 10 rounds of 22 into my gun in one sitting.
Right. Now, the review here mentions it might be a nice backup revolver. That would be the only thing that I would kind of... I mean, yes, but to me, this kind of moves into the category of a primary carry.
Almost. Oh, absolutely. It's a primary carry.
You got 6 rounds, like, yes, 5 rounds, 1 less round, but still, that's a decent ankle gun. But I mean, this is an all stainless steel gun.
I would argue that the realm of backup gun is for the aluminum, scandium, and polymer framed revolvers.
Did I tell you I shot an airweight 638 the other day?
And which one's that? The
shrouded hammer one.
Yeah. I've got one. Actually, it's my wife's, but yeah,
I actually really liked it. It shot really well.
My wife, she's got one of the no lock ones, which I think is kind of rare because you see the 642s a lot,
right? The
638 with no lock, and they were offered for a long time on Smith & Wesson's website, but you didn't see very many no lock 638s. But this thing is one of the best triggers of all my revolvers. Like the trigger is really, really nice on this one. Yeah, we got it used, so it's I don't know if it's been dry fired a lot or what, but it's a pretty slick gun. It's cool because it's got the little nubbin on it where the hammer is not going to snag, but at the same time, if you want to cock the hammer back and shoot it single action, that's also not a problem. Like
Right.
I definitely had some misgivings when I saw that. I'm just like, I was worried that all that. The only downside to it I still prefer the fully concealed hammer guns, just because this is really a pocket gun and it still has that gap for where the hammer is, so that pocket lint and grunge could get into the gun that way. I don't know how big of a problem it is overall, but I like having the back end of the gun really nice and sealed up, so that because especially if you're carrying pocket guns, they're gross.
Yeah, it's and nowadays when you have stuff like the LCP, you're looking at that as a backup gun.
Yeah.
Again, so you move into that.
I think if we're talking backup gun, like you're looking for small and light, because it's your backup. If you're gonna have something that's going to be heavy, that's because it's your primary.
Right.
Especially it's heavy and has 6 shots. I mean, 6 shots isn't a lot anymore now in the age of semi-autos, but 6 shots in a revolver is pretty standard.
Yeah, 6 shots to 357 was the standard for a long time.
Mm-hmm. So that is really a, more of like a primary carry sort of gun. It's a K-frame.
Excellent. So with that, we'll head into the wrap-up section and close out the show. Don't forget to shop Brownells using our affiliate link. Head to firearmsradio.tv and click the affiliate link in the upper right-hand corner. Be sure to go like Handgun Radio on Facebook and share it with your friends. Leave us a review on iTunes and listen to all the great shows on the Firearms Radio Network. Be sure to visit the Firearms Insider and check out the Firearms Radio Network on YouTube. And Weird, thanks for coming on. And where can people find you?
Well, you can find me at my blog, which is weirdworld.com, and of which I'm live on right now. I should push play on it and see what it does. And then I'm also a host on the Score Report and the Gun Blog Variety Cast.
And there are links to that in the show notes. So thank you, everybody, for listening. And until next week, have fun and safe shooting.